if I will be ready to roll. I've never done anything like this before. Did you hit play already?
Uh-huh.
You hit record already?
Okay, now we're going. I can edit. Just do your thing, woman.
This is Sherry's fault. Okay. I don't know if it's Sherry's fault or my fault, but anyway, I'm making this video for her because I destroyed a video she posted of someone making biscuits because I didn't like their technique. So, anyway, here we go. I got 3 cups of self-rising flour, and then I'm actually adding a tablespoon of baking powder, not baking soda, baking powder. Baking powder is a combination of cornstarch and baking soda, and I just think it makes the biscuits lighter and fluffier. And lots of videos they show you sifting. For me, I just grab a whisk, mix that baking powder in, and it aerates the flour just the same. When I was younger, I always made my biscuits by hand, stick the hands in there and start doing it. Well, my acrylic nails don't like having biscuit dough underneath them, so I use tools now a lot. So 3 cups flour, baking powder. Here's a ½ cup of shortening. Again, used to do that with my hands. So much easier now to not do with my hands. Truffle wants in, but she shouldn't have went outside. She's being stubborn. I have been known to use butter if I discover I'm out of shortening. It's rare, but it happens, and it still makes really good biscuits as long as you use cold butter and real butter. Don't use that fake stuff made with oil. Biscuit pastry cutter. Again, for me, it actually saves a little bit of time to use a pastry cutter. She is watching us, Chris. She's so funny. And you want to get your shortening mixed in really, really well. You can do this by hand. I've seen people do it with forks. I think when I was in like middle school, our teacher told us we could use 2 knives, like butter knives, to do this with. That was a pain in the butt because it took a long time to do it with just 2 butter knives. And then you want your dough to look your stuff to look kind of mealy, like that. Okay? And then buttermilk. I'm adding, I guess you would call it a scant 2 cups, just under 2 cups, because I want a really, really, really wet dough. And the reason I want a really wet dough is because I'm going, that dog pops up in that window one more time. Next time she does it, Chris, get a little shot over because she's making me giggle. Because you're gonna pour it out onto your countertop or your board if you have a board, and you're gonna fold it over several times with more flour. So the less you work this, the more tender your biscuits will be, and the less flour you have to add, the more tender your biscuits will be. So that's why you start off with a really wet dough, so that you can judge how little flour you actually have to add when you do your folding. There's almost done getting all that flour out of the bottom. So see, that's a pretty wet, sticky kind of dough. Flour, pour it out. By the way, those are some biscuits I made earlier, just so that I wouldn't have to try to do a whole time-lapse thing because editing is not my friend. Another thing I've seen people do is roll their biscuits out. And you can do that. I don't actually roll my dough. I just kind of had it a little bit by hand, but you don't want to do a whole lot of that, because the less you work your dough, the more tender your biscuits are going to be. Did she pop up again? Did you get her?
I didn't
Thought I heard
get
her. Okay.
She popped up, but I didn't get her.
She's fine. All right. So I always start like this, just because. There she is. Ah, she dropped. There's the first one. You're just gonna let her in. So I personally like to fold mine over about 6 times. Don't ask me why, but 6 is my number. And it just makes a really
Hey, truffle.
layered, fluffy. Hey,
She
sweet
smells
girl.
biscuits.
Well, she smells anything. She likes everything. Was that 3? I think that was 3. There's 4. Press it out just a little bit. 5. And there's 6. That would make one gigantic biscuit. So I'm just gonna gently press it out. I like to press it till it's, I don't know, a little over an inch high, maybe. Whatever size this biscuit cutter is, that's what I like to do. Move these out of the way. You don't have to. Okay, there's a big biscuit on there that didn't happen with the biscuit cutter because there was a little extra dough. Sometimes I'll have a bigger biscuit, sometimes I'll have a smaller biscuit. It's just always fun for me to watch my kids, as grown as they are, fight over either the baby biscuit or the big biscuit. Oh, that edge was a little thin, so that biscuit's not going to be as thick as the others. But anyway, Chris, you want to, that biscuit that I cut just a minute ago, you want to kind of focus in on that and open it up a little bit. Let her see how the layering happens in there and how tender that is. Okay. All right. I'm gonna finish cutting these out and get them in the oven because I really do need to make breakfast now. But Sherry, that's for you. Love you.